You are a visionary, an entrepreneur, a business owner. You want to make money from your passion and create the freedom that you've dreamed of. But it's slow. The income is slow, the impact is slow, and the freedom is slow. And here's the kicker. You've actually never been busier. You're working longer than ever, burning through daylight, and your family have forgotten who you are. You're tired and frustrated and you can't even sleep well at night. The business just feels so heavy, and all you ever wanted to do was just make the money you want to make doing the things that you want to do. And that's where I come in. Hi, if we haven't met yet, my name is Dr. Brooklyn Storme, and I'm the host of the Business Acceleration Podcast, where we shift your business from heavy to light, time poor to time abundant, and from income lack to income growth. We're going to achieve it together with my 20 years experience as a psychologist, helping people just like you to break through their barriers. And we're going to throw in a little of the woo as well. So thank you so much for pushing play today. Let's begin. Welcome and thank you so much for pushing play today. I'm so glad that you're here, and a very special thank you to the people who've been subscribing to the Manifest Change podcast. Guys, you have been so patient, and thank you so much for supporting the evolution of this podcast. You will have noticed that the name of the podcast has changed from Manifest Change to the Business Acceleration Podcast. We've changed the intro and the outro, changed the cover art, but the focus is still the same, and I'm super excited to keep bringing you information around how you can integrate evidence-based psychological tools with spirituality in order to make the money you want to make doing the work that you really want to do. So today's topic takes us right back to the foundations of something called neuroscience. And why, you might be asking, well, I just thought it was important to understand, I guess, where we've come from and how we have developed as people over time. And this is really, really interesting, and I'm going to get my geek on today. So hopefully it won't be too dry and you'll love it. But let's begin. Okay, so in the beginning, as you're well aware, we were on the earth, of course, and we lived alongside, well, I guess, other animals and primates. We're really connected to each other. There was a very strong sense of community, and we're also very connected to our environment, weren't we? Back then, we had a brain that was quite different to what it is today. Our brain back then was mostly what's called a limbic brain, and the limbic brain really had three main functions, okay? So one function was memory. So, of course, we had to remember where we lived, how to get from A to B, all those sorts of things. It was also responsible for emotion. So regulating emotion, using behavior to express emotion. That was how we communicated mostly, not entirely, but mostly. And the third function was, of course, arousal or stimulation. And we still have these functions today. With arousal and stimulation, it was really around, survival in terms of making sure that we were safe from the lions and tigers and bears. Oh my. And today you would understand, of course, the idea of fight or flight. So that's really what that limbic brain was all about. And yeah, of course, there's a third F now, as you know, which is freeze. But anyway, so back then it was fight or flight, and the idea was to keep us nice and safe. So anyway, life's going on, and all happy, all fine. And then guess what happens? One day, some bright spark discovers fire. How exciting is that? We've got fire, and we love fire because it opens up so many doors, okay? One of the things that happens is we realize with fire that we can eat meat. We hadn't really been doing this too much up until that point. Our diet had been, as you can imagine, I guess largely living off the land, plant-based, and fish and all that sort of stuff. But now we're able to incorporate more meat into the diet, and that's really important because we had to learn how to digest protein more efficiently. And with this introduction of fire and everything that came along with it, our outer cortex grew, okay? And that's really important because when that grew, what happened was our capacity for cognition, okay? Our capacity for being able to do things like plan, follow through, organize ourselves, remember, make sense of visual information, understand relationships, all of that sort of stuff increased. So intelligence increased. And with it, what happened was we became more focused on things like logic, more focused on things like facts, more focused on things like evidence. We needed to know if A, then B, then C, right? But one of the even bigger things that happened as a result of this fire situation was the development of speech. Wow. We communicated using words, developing languages, developing, phonics. All of this sort of stuff happened around that time. And while all of this is really exciting, what happened was we became obviously a lot more efficient than we were without all of this stuff. We learned how to recognize needs, gaps in things, for example, learning how to make a tool, learning that we needed a tool for something, learning that a tool could make life easier or more efficient. So there was this real swing, conscious or not, I don't know, but there was this real swing away from who we were being. We were just being a tribe, being on the land, being of the land, or all of this sort of stuff, being to doing. And instead of having this big focus on community and all chipping in and helping each other out and sharing and everything, what happened was competition developed. And now we became, in for a pound, in for a penny, and we were competing against each other. And this, you see this now, it's 2019 now, and, it's a very competitive society, especially in developed countries, not so much in developing countries, but we see it. And, we also see that a lot of us are less connected to each other, less connected to our community, less connected to the environment. And we're not drawing upon those things that our ancestors used to. We're not drawing as much upon intuition anymore. We're not drawing upon things like lunar cycles and sun cycles and seasons and stuff like that anymore. I mean, you just have to go down to Coles or Woolies, or if you're in America, Spinneys or something like that, and you could get vegetables all year round. But it wasn't like that back then. They could only get what was seasonal. So there's been this big shift away, and we've become less about being and more about doing. And that is very, 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 very important for your business. And if you're not in business yet, that's cool. And maybe it's important for your life. I would love for you to have a think between now and next week when we come back. Have a think about, this difference between being and doing, and how it's playing out in your life at the moment. Who are you being in your business? What are you doing in your business? Is your business, can you feel that it's quite competitive? Can you feel like there's relationships with people, with relationships with other businesses? What are your relationships like with your customers or your clients or your affiliates or your stakeholders? All things like that. Really have a think about who you're being as a boss, as an entrepreneur, as a business owner. Think about who you're being. Are you being innovative? Are you being busy? Are you being someone that's able to effectively and successfully for them manage a balance between work and play? All right. It's really important that you think about this stuff before the next episode, because when we catch up next time, we're going to take this a little bit deeper. And the whole intention of this podcast is to help you build the business that you really want to have, to make the money that you want to make in order to live that life that you dream of, whether that's taking your kids on holiday or maybe it's buying yourself that new car or whatever it is, okay? You're not going to get there just by listening to podcasts. You've got to do the work. So the work between now and the next session is to really think about who you're being in your business and what you're doing in your business. So I'll leave it there for today. Thank you so much for listening. If you loved it, let me know. If you want more information, hit me up on Facebook or Instagram. I'll absolutely get back to you. Thank you so much, and I will talk to you next time. Bye, guys. Thank you so much for listening today. I really hope that you enjoyed it and got a lot of value from it. Help me help others by sharing this podcast. And if you feel called to leave a review on Apple Podcasts, remember to let me know so that I can send you a very special thank you gift. Now go and build your dream business, and I will see you next time. Bye.